Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Chart Nerd TA video. Don't worry if this all looks confusing and you're seeing big green bands and ribbons and trend lines everywhere. Let me explain. You guys just relax. Let me do the work for you. Welcome to the channel. Welcome if you are back again. Today we are going to dive into the TOTAL3 chart. This is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, the current valuation of the TOTAL3 sits at $653 billion. Now, what I wanted to look at this chart for is there's a few things I wanted to point out. We're going to use this indicator that I have on here called the Gaussian channel to point out some confluence points. We have the Gaussian channel on the monthly time frame currently. Now, do bear in mind, you might not see a lot of people that do technical analysis using the Gaussian on the monthly. It's preferably used on the 5-day, the daily, and the weekly, as it gives, it's a bit easier to navigate. But I've noticed a few things here that could be indicating to us that we are looking for a really insane parabolic run for the latter part of this year into early 2025 for altcoins. Now, hear me out on this. Let me explain. Let me dive in. So before I talk about the Gaussian channel, I've got these two white trend lines in of resistance or previous resistance. These were bear market resistance points and points of contact that we was under, that we needed to break out before we saw any sort of parabolic run. You can see at 2021, we topped out here in this bear market for alts, and we've actually started to break out of resistance very similarly to how we did back here in 2020. So that's something, a confluence point that's very healthy for us. We have tackled out of multi-year downtrend resistance back in, when did we do that? September 2023. You can see the altcoins started taking out their resistance points very similarly to how we did in May 2020, which is a good sign. So keep that confluence point in mind. But it's what happened within the price action and the Gaussian channel within both of these territories that I think is important. So if we look at the Gaussian, you can see you've got this sort of upper band, you have a medium band, and you have a lower band on the Gaussian channel. I want us to ignore the lower band because, again, there's no data suggesting that it's any relevance to us. We're just going to ignore that. I want to primarily focus on the mid band and the upper band. Okay, now when it comes towards where these breakouts occurred, let me just get my pen on white. When it comes to where these breakouts occurred, you can see we was under key resistance, but what actually happened is once we met this resistance, we fell back into the Gaussian, we re-tapped the top end of the Gaussian channel, and then came back to the median before exploding out of resistance. Okay, and this was back in 2020. So you can see that we fell into the Gaussian on the monthly, we rallied up to the top end, fell back to the median, and then exploded. If we fast forward over to where we are now, you can see that we fell into the Gaussian, we retraced up to the upper end of the Gaussian channel, then retraced back to the median before taking out resistance. So we have seen the same play out from this sector of market here back in 2020, literally in 2023. So just to make that a little bit more clear, I'm actually going to get circles on for us. Let me zoom in a little bit here. You can see that, again, when you're under this resistance, we had a fake out wick up here to the top end of the regression band, and then the price came back to the median. If we fast forward, you can see when you came into the monthly Gaussian, you rallied to the top end of the band, and then you came back to the median. Now, what happened after you met the median line? We broke resistance back in 2020. In 2023, we also broke resistance. Now, it's after this. Okay, so that's 2 points of confluence for us. The back test on the median, the break of these resistance lines, giving us the confirmation that, hey, okay, we could be onto something good here and actually reversing this trend and starting to flip the switch. So other than those 2 points, other than the Gaussian and the fact that we double tapped both similar points in previous bear markets, if we look at what happened after the Gaussian decided to break out, you can see, where is it? Let me get my brush back on. You can see here that we rallied up, we took out the top end of the Gaussian channel, the top band, and then we retraced to it for a couple of months, wicking off of it before exploding. Okay, now again, if we fast forward, similarly to from the bottom of the Gaussian, we break out resistance, we've tackled out of the upper band, and we have retraced to it for support. Is this telling us that we are about to have a month or two of support along the upper regression band of this Gaussian channel, where we sort of hover here for a month or two, just like we did when we topped out above it here? We held the Gaussian, top end of the Gaussian, for a couple of months and exploded. Are we about to hold the Gaussian for a couple of months, the top end of the Gaussian, before exploding? It seems too simple to be honest, doesn't it? But it's kind of staring at us in the face, if history does sure repeat. And it doesn't have to, of course, but you know, these points of confluence don't just appear out of nowhere. And on the monthly time frame, again, the larger the time frame, the not necessarily the more reliable, but yeah, you get the gist. It's just staring at us. It's just staring at us in the face. It really is. So again, a lot of things to keep in mind about the Gaussian and the key resistance points that we've broken out, and we're currently hovering above the monthly, very similarly to what we did here. And I think, again, these corrections are just for buying, not financial advice. These dips are for buying during the bull season, you know. So again, not financial advice. I hope you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the content. Was there one thing I wanted? Yeah, there was one more thing I wanted to point out, actually, giving us some confluence to the fact that we could be looking for some sort of parabolic move here, where we start pushing up to higher market cap levels towards the $2 trillion I think I had in my targets. Now, how I got that target is quite important. So before I do go, I just wanted to show you guys that if we get a Fibonacci on from the last bear market low in 2020, retracing it to the previous bull run high, what you'll see is that the price of the total market cap 3 literally met right between the 1618 at 1.7 and the 1272. So we kind of topped out halfway between this range, between the 1272 and the 1618, from this low retracing to this high. So if we get another fib on from this bear market low retracing to this bull market high, we could get a rough estimation and say, okay, well, if we start to top out between the 1272 and the 1618, we could be looking at a $2 trillion market cap for the TOTAL3 chart. Something else that's also very interesting that I wanted to point out before I go is if we get a resistance line, following the highs of the TOTAL3 chart, silly ad, get out of the way. If we get a resistance line from this high running up to these highs, okay, so we've got resistance, we've had resistance in this area. You can see that the 1618 at $2.6 trillion could potentially be met by July 2025. And we could see the 1272 tapped as early as August this year. So for me, I think that just gives more confluence. Again, when you go from this low to this high, the 1272 was met and the 1618 was nearly met. If we go from this low to this high, for me, the end of this season, the end of the bull run, the mania, taps out somewhere along this ascending trend line of resistance, and between the 1272 and the 1618. I think we tap out and we could see, again, that mania phase, and we have this as the sign saying, hey, the 1618, the ascending resistance line, the fact that we've broken out of multi-year resistance, that could be the final top for altcoins. It really could. So I just wanted to show you this chart, guys. A few confluence points that are pointing out towards us breaking out. One last thing before I go. Again, from this low, retracing to this high, you can see we've come out of the golden ratio. Very important. And we're back testing it for support. And we've literally wicked off of the golden ratio 0.50 at 568. What's funny is that also is the price of the monthly top end of the Gaussian. Another confluence point. So guys, don't be scared. Don't be scared. I hope you enjoyed the content. Much love from Chart Nerd TA. Until next time, peace out.